Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last episode of Act Up for the semester. My name is Joy Payumo, and I am your political coordinator. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And today we're going to just be doing a kind of little wrap up of everything we've done over this past year as board members. And today I have four lovely guests. Y'all might know them as Top Four. I know them as some of the most interesting people on board. So why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kara Barlin. I'm this year's president, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Mire, you good?
Oh, she's frozen?
Yeah, I'm not frozen anymore. So, hi everyone. My name is Mide. I am this year's executive vice president. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Hello, my name is Christine, and I am APSA's Vice President of Internal Affairs, and I go by she, her, hers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erwin Rivera, and I am the Vice President of External Affairs, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
Very nice, very nice. So I'd like to start by, just looking at the past couple months and how, things since this pandemic has begun have not been that great for AAPIs. They've been pretty horrible for like everybody in general, but like since we are APSA, and since we are board members, like things haven't been that great as like a culture, right? A lot of us, we've been like having to deal with, the stress of, discrimination and like recent attacks against the AAPI community. So I was just wondering, are there things that you have discovered about yourself in this past year, as like an AAPI individual that probably wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been in this situation? Anybody can go first if you want. You want me to go first? Yeah. Okay. So I like as for me, like I didn't here in California, like things aren't necessarily like that bad in comparison to a lot of other places. And there are a lot of APIs here, particularly in like San Diego. So I had never really felt really discriminated against. I was always kind of in my element. And so it wasn't until, seeing all of this happen and seeing how like aggressive and like how people just like vehemently disliked Asians at this time, I was like, oh, even if I am like surrounded, like even if I do feel, I belong here, right? There's always this like sense of like, maybe I don't. Maybe other people are still going to look at me differently. And that's one thing that I've had to come to grips with in the past couple months. And yeah, like being like a student at this time too is also very difficult because, as the five of us were all, juniors and one senior in college. We're the boomers of the board. It's certainly not the easiest to be able to like to have to like juggle school and then on top of that a pandemic and like having to worry about people like harassing you when you go outside. So that's just one thing that like that I learned about myself and learned about like my identity in the past couple months. Yeah. Anybody else?
Can you repeat the question?
I was
Sorry.
asking, if there was anything that you've, learned about yourself in the past, like let's say like past year, because it's been over a year since we've been online, that you probably wouldn't have learned about yourself if we hadn't been in this situation.
I could talk about it.
Very swag.
Sorry, Kara. Okay, so I think like due to like what's happening, like current events and everything, I really thought, like, in the past, I thought it was normal for other people to not talk about like AAPI issues just because, like, I don't know, we're like the minority. No one really talks about, especially like the Asian like subjects in general. So like this year, when everything like started to like spike up, I realized I was feeling really frustrated that no one was talking about it. And even if people were, it was only people who identified as AAPI. And just being involved in like the PETA Resource Center just made me real like a lot of emotions started rising up, like emotions that I never really felt before. I was really like informed of like what was going on. So like I guess one thing I learned is that like I like do really care about it. It's just like in the past I kind of like suppressed my emotions because I thought it was normal to not talk about it because no one cared enough. But I think now it's like I want people to care, so that's why I want to voice my thoughts more.
Anybody else got some thoughts?
Well, I think since like the pandemic and everything in general, it was definitely a lot and something that I had to really learn how to get used to. Like usually I do the best for schoolwork when I'm like outside doing homework like somewhere else. And so like not having that was really hard. And then like not really having a place to do homework until I got my apartment was very interesting. Because I'm like, oh, I really can't do it at home. And well, and I couldn't get rid of my apartment because of the pandemic, but it's okay. I think it was for the best because I did better in school. But that's beside. And then like when all this news like rose up about Asian hate, like it really added on like really like oof like it was like, very bad, and then you got like hit by a car basically, and I was already stressed, and I'm like, oh, I can't read the news, because I'm like I'm gonna like lose it. But I feel like sometimes I learned that sometimes you just gotta really go for it and like learn about these things and like do your best in this time, like do what you can and learn what you can. And it's hard, but sometimes you just gotta push through it, especially because as a student leader, like that revolves around the situation, like APSA, Asian. So then like you kind of have to talk about it. And I also work at the APITA Center with Mire, so it's very, very important to have this intellectual work, but it's also important to think about your own mental health. And like if something like this is like really affecting you, then you can step away from it and it's completely fine.
Anybody else?
I can go.
Yeah.
I feel like prior to the pandemic, like I always knew that I felt out of place in groups in which I was like the fact that I was a minority like made me like stand out. But like throughout the pandemic, I feel like I realized that I'm like very distrusting of the majority, the majority, because like I'll like go out in public and like I'll see someone who, or like I'll have to interact with someone who is like Caucasian or like a more prevalent race. And then in the back of my mind, I'll be like, this person can be like inside just like discriminating against me because I'm Asian American, or they could just like immediately dislike me without me knowing because I'm Asian American. So I always have like that fear now whenever I go out, and like I'll just like either like I'm at work or like I'm gonna go like order a coffee and the cashier person is like white, and I'm just like I'll just like have that tiny bit of fear. Um, but then I also like realized just how fortunate I am to be like living in San Diego because there's such a large Asian Am and like API community, because like I could still go out to like brunch or like to a coffee shop or whatever, and not really be scared of being like a victim of hate because of my race. But like other Asian Americans in different parts of the US like actually can't go out to like grocery shop or get necessities because they're scared of being attacked for their race. So yeah.
Very valid. Erwin, any thoughts?
All right. Quick. All right. I know. Rerun the question again, because like I feel like the answers are throwing me off now. I had an answer, but then
I said, is there anything that you've like learned about yourself in the past year, like, you know, like culture or like politics wise, that you probably would not have realized about yourself if this pandemic hadn't happened?
okay. So for me, like I wasn't so like what's the word? I wasn't really into politics and everything, all that stuff before the pandemic, but like once it all hit, it's like all these everything started popping up more, and then I was like, whoa, like instead of me scrolling through like Twitter, right, and seeing like just like basketball stuff, like stuff I follow, more stuff like popped up for like politics and stuff, and I was like, huh, I really don't know anything. So ever since like it started, I got like basically more into it, like trying to learn more of what's happening around. So like I think overall this like uh ever since it started, the pandemic, it helped, at least it helped me realize like, like maybe I should start, or I should start like basically like looking more into stuff so I could like know what's happening around, because I was just like, just walking around, just living a regular like life without knowing what's happening in my like own country. So that's like basically what it made me realize and what I started to do more now. And yeah.
So it sounds like we've all had the chance to like reflect a little bit um, over the past year. And I feel like this next question is more geared towards like me, Mire, Christine, and Erwin, because Kara's not going to be on campus anymore. But I was just wondering, do you have any worries about like going into the next school year, or like going into like a quote unquote like post COVID world, even though, we're probably going to end up living, having to live with this as like a new norm, right? Like things have changed, right? And I feel like things like in some cases have changed for the better. Like, like we're all more conscious of like each other, making sure that we don't get others, like we're making sure we don't get others sick, right? I feel like, at least for me, my only concern would be like going back to school, like are things going to be awkward in classrooms, right? Like things are going to have to be, you know, smaller, more like socially distanced, right? Obviously, because we don't want to get each other sick. Um, are there things that you miss about pre-COVID life that you wish that we would be able to get back to? Um, like this could be like on campus stuff, but even like normal things that you do with your friends.
Um, well, the first question where like something I'm worried about going into campus again is social interactions. Because like I do have some social anxiety, but then I think after basically an entire year and like plus more, since we're not going back until like summer and it's only April now, like I haven't seen other people. Like, and then meeting new people that I haven't met beforehand is something that I'm kind of like, oh, I forgot how to do that. Oh gosh, how do I do that? Kind of thing. Um, so I definitely need to practice that some more before I go back. Uh, and that's my little like internal worry, but it's a little personal thing. But yeah. And then one thing that I do wish that we could all go back to would be like, I don't know, going to like the movie theaters with friends or something. I go like once a year, but I didn't get to go last year. So and it was like a little thing that I really missed.
Perfectly valid. I mean, like I haven't I think the last time I went to go see a movie was like January of last year or something like that. Like my friends took me. Um and like it's definitely one of those things that like I realized that we took for granted because I was like, you know what? I don't really need to go to the movies all that often. But now I'm realizing I'm like, dang, I have done nothing but watch YouTube and Netflix for the past year. And it gets kind of tiring because you're like, man, I'm at home by myself. This kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, definitely like hanging out with friends is one thing. But especially like on campus, oof. I miss the library. Do y'all miss the library? I feel like that's one of the things that like every college student should have the opportunity to like experience. And I feel kind of bad that like the freshmen like they just didn't get to do that at all this year, right? I saw a bunch of freshmen that were like, "Oh, Zoom study session." I was like, "What are y'all really going to do on Zoom? Really? Are y'all really going to like study?" I don't think so. But like getting one of those study rooms and then just like being in there for like 6 hours at a time with your friends. I think that's what I wish we would be able to go back to, but I know it would probably be like restricted or something. But yeah. Anybody else got things about school that they miss? Or life pre-COVID?
I think personally, like just touching on what Christine said about like social interactions, I'm actually like I feel like because of COVID, I've gotten better at talking to new people because Zoom is so awkward. So like you really have to like kind of put yourself out there. So like I feel like I talked to a lot more people than I did back when school was in person. So I'm grateful for that. Like I feel like my character development is good. But I think one thing that I am like nervous about is probably like overthinking or like watching what I'm doing or what other people are doing because like let's just say like at East Commons, you like everyone's like eating together, no mask or anything. And you kind of think about like, oh my god, someone like right next to me could have been at like a party and gotten exposed to some like illness, you know? And like before I wouldn't even think like at all about that. But I feel like once school's in person, it's just like it's gonna be something in the back of my head, like, I wonder what like other people are doing and like what kind of interactions kind of like even now, like when I hung out with my friends in San Diego, I would always wait for my COVID test back before I could hang out with my friends back home because I don't want any risks. So something like that.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know how like I know that they want us to go back to school in the fall, but me personally, I'm low key like, I don't know. Y'all are a little bit sus. I don't know if I trust all of these college students. Even my own friends too. I'm like, I never leave my house. I'm a hermit. And I used to be very like, okay, like this sounds really weird, but like the way that I present myself to like all of y'all very different than the way that I present like myself in person, I feel like. Um I think definitely in the past year I've gotten more to the point where I'm like I don't want to talk to people. I it sounds odd considering I am an extrovert, but I think that being at home so much has made me be like, you know what? It's really nice to detox. It's really nice to just block everyone and be like, I'm not talking to y'all today. It's fine. It's fine. And being able, I don't know how I'm going to be able to go back to school when I can just go on Zoom and be like, you know, cameras off. No one's going to see how ugly I am. How are we going to go back to in person? Like I can't just walk up to school in my pajamas holding a giant plushie. You know what I mean? Like I can't that's not something that's going to be normal after this. And I'm just like, mm, okay, I miss the human interaction of school, but at the same time I'm like, man, I really enjoy being independent, quote unquote. But also that whole structure very much something that I feel like everybody needs at some point. Anybody else?
I'll go real quick. So I think for me, like something that I miss about school, for I think just this specifically kind of towards me, I guess, is like I had a lot of like hands-on labs where I like work with equipment and stuff, and like now I'm like trying to learn that online, and I'm like I don't really know what these equipments are really doing anymore, and I don't know, that's like the one thing that I kind of wish that they would, or like if we do, or since it's they're trying to go back, I'm hoping that if they're gonna do hands-on um like equipment stuff, I really hope that like everyone like cleans their stuff and all that stuff, because like there's like a lot of classes, everyone's trying to touch the same gear and try to understand what it is, and yeah. But I also wanted to say i I I could have mixed concrete. That's one of the labs I miss. That's all I wanted to say.
Very sad for our concrete enthusiasts here. Um, and then I think as for Kara, I would like to know, since you're not coming back to campus, is there anything that you're just like, man, my senior year, I wish, like, do you feel like your senior year was complete? You know what I mean? Like, you're about to be gone and like you're gonna be working, man. You're gonna be, quite literally a boomer in comparison to the rest of us. You're gonna have to be in the working world. Is there anything that you were like, I should have experienced this during my senior year of college? Or are you just like, you know what, I'm fine, I'm out, get me out of here?
Oh, I feel like there's a lot of things I missed out on because, like, coming into senior year, like thinking that, oh, maybe it might be in person. I was like, this is the year I have fun. Like, I don't think everything rides on grades, and I don't spend too much time studying. Like, I'm gonna live my life a bit more because this is like my last year. But because of the pandemic, I was like, I should start working. So I feel like half of my senior year, it's like it's been juggling school, APSA, and work. So like I wish that the without the pandemic, I would have gotten a break between school and like jumping into the workforce, because I would have had my senior year just to like have fun, like finish up the classes I need to finish up, and then also like be able to enjoy APSA for one last time. But yeah, I feel like I do feel fulfilled having spent my last year the way I have, though. So I don't have any anger towards the circumstances.
I think you are a much better person than I am, because you being able to say that you are not angry, girl, could not be me. Could not be me. Um, like, I don't know. Like, it's very bittersweet. At least at the very minimum, I'm like, school. I miss having like all of those friends and all those interactions. At least when I was in school, or like, in person, I had a routine. I was waking up at 5 a.m. and getting to school and doing all of my homework. Oh, did it freeze? Oh, it froze. Okay, I'm back. At least like when we're in person, right? I was waking up at 5 a.m. I would get on campus, go to Starbucks, pound out like 3 hours worth of homework, and then go to my first class of the day. That's what things were like for me. Like, I would be home by like 3 p.m. and then I'd be like, that's enough socialization for today. I don't need to see any of you people. And I think that's what changed for me. Like, before, I would be like, okay, all of my socialization at school, and then after that, I don't need anything. I'm fine. But now I'm like, I think because everything went online, a lot of my friends kind of flip-flopped. All the people who were like super introverts were like, "Can we talk? Can we Zoom? Can we do this? Can we do that?" And then meanwhile me, I was just like, "Dang. I'm really tired of Zoom and of talk. So like I used to have my camera on all the time for all my classes. I was like, yeah, let me be that student. Let me be the, I'm still in it. I got the motivation, baby. And then halfway through, I was like, nah, I'm out. One time I fell asleep and then I woke up and my class was in the middle of doing a Kahoot. How is that gonna work in person? Tell me that. I sleep like a raccoon now. I I sleep at like 6 a.m. and I wake up at noon. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work for in person. And I also don't drive. So like, how is this gonna function? Like, it's really just kind of hard. But yeah, like going back to like feelings about this year, I think that as far as APSA wise, I feel like we've done, as much as we could. Like given the circumstances, it's very hard to reach people through this whole online format. I think we've done a good job of like getting to meet new freshmen. And you know what, to any freshmen, to any of our freshmen that are watching this, y'all are amazing. I mean, like I didn't think that there were going to be any people who would even come to APSA this semester or like this year, right? Like being very literal, like there's a lot of people who would be like, I don't feel what is the appeal in going to an online meeting and just having to be in a Zoom doing icebreakers with other people. But I'm very glad that we as a board were able to do that together, because I think that this group of people, despite how different we are, make up a pretty interesting pot, I would like to say. We bring a lot of different ingredients. Dang, my Wi-Fi is really hating on y'all today. But I think that a lot of our personalities like complement each other, and I think that at least like fam system wise, me and Erwin, we're peak. Sorry to tell it to y'all, but it's me and Erwin.
The best.
The best. Promise, fam. I don't know about y'all. Milked. Number. Starfish. I don't know about that. Your spouses are all gonna see this and they're gonna be like, I hate you. Not the no. She hit me with that no. Dang. Anyways, but yeah, I wanted to ask, is there anything that you would tell to incoming not the Wi-Fi again! My Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. It says unstable. Like my mental health. Anyways, it's a joke. It's a joke. Anyways, is there any advice that you would have to like freshmen or like incoming freshmen who, I asked this at the beginning of the year, at the first ever Act Up, right? Is there any advice that you have to like incoming students who, are interested in APSA, who don't really know about college, who probably had like, 2 years of school robbed from them? Are there things that you would like to warn them about, you know, college? Because it is a rude awakening a little bit, but I think being in a pandemic makes it even worse, just a little bit. Can we get any advice from the boomer? Or Erwin?
I'm not a boomer.
I'm not a boomer. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not a boomer, but I could go. I could go because the boomer Kara doesn't want to go right now.
period.
So,
I was confused.
How are you confused when you're the oldest
no,
one
she's
here?
confused. Of course, she's confused. Aren't all boomers confused all the time?
It's the dementia. Just
Oh, okay. An advice. I feel like I always say this, but like you definitely get what you put in college. So like always like put yourself out of your comfort zone and like talk to new people, especially with APSA. All board members wants to be like your friend. Like we always compete for your affection. So like any little effort that you put in, like you'll get like 10 times back, at least for APSA, but I'm pretty sure with everything else, like especially like student orgs in college, like they all want you. So like you just have to put in that little effort and you get like so much back. So just like taking that initial step, even though it's like kind of scary, is like super important, I think.
I like how you really leaked a little secret that board members literally just want to be friends with everybody. Dang. Literally, that was one thing that I was like very confused about when I first joined APSA. I was like, man, all of these people are so cool. They're so nice. And then I realized once I got on board, I was like, dang, it really changes your it really changes your perspective. Because when it's your job to like hang out with people and be like, you know, be the one that you want to hang out with them, you start being like, anybody who is willing to hang out with me is cool by default, right? Um, but like, yeah, like to be quite frank, every single GVMer who comes out to our events and stuff, I feel like they are like the most amazing people that I have met in the past how many months. Like I probably would not have. They're so sweet, so kind, especially my children. God, they're being an APSA parent during this time. It was so weird. Like you'll just get on Zoom and like half the time you don't see anybody's face and you'd be like, okay, fam social, time for pictures, right? And then like that's the first time you see someone's face and you're like, that's what you look like? Oh dang. But it's like I think it's very fun. Like in spite of all this, I think I've made a lot of un unpredictable, I would like to say, friendships. But yeah, anybody else got stuff they would like to say to the fresh meats, to the bebes?
I could go.
All right, all right.
I feel like I say what Mire says a lot, like um you only get out what you put into it. But like having pretty much reached the end of my college career, I feel like you should realize that there's so much that on-campus involvement can give, but it could also end up taking a lot from you. So like when you decide to like deepen your involvement and pursue leadership and like narrow down like how you spend your time as you like find yourself having less of it as you go on in your college career, like make sure that you're really um passionate like when make sure that just yeah make sure you're passionate, like choose the orgs that you really value and like see worth in. Like I feel like my involvements with APSA have almost purely been because I've been a leader in APSA for the past 3 years. I never really experienced the org as a GBMer, but like even though it has taken a lot from me, like it's what I want to be giving because I think APSA really is a home away from home, and it helps people realize the importance of identity, and it gives people friends that last beyond college years, and it's something really amazing. So like to incoming freshmen, like you should probably like dip your toes in everywhere you see like any bit of interest, and then begin to like narrow it down so you could get the most out of your involvements. But yeah, that's all.
Honestly, Kara out here, she just being the poster child for college orgs. Kara's like, you know what? Dip your toes in the water. No, what Kara's really saying is just jump into the pool. Doesn't
No.
even matter. Just try every single thing. And to that, I would like to say, try everything, try a little bit of everything, but also just be careful about overwhelming yourself because it's a lot, right? Like once you I feel like I only went into APSA my first semester of sophomore year, but going to like all the events, going to GVMs and stuff, I was like, yo, I'm packed. I'm busy. Like there's so much that you can do in person. Uh we didn't even scratch the surface of it with like online. Imagine this in person. God, our board would have been so chaotic. Um particularly particularly some of our boys, our peachy boys, they're very funny. But I think to the freshmen watching this, I hope that you know, just try it. Come to APSA. Come, you know what? There's some people who I know will definitely probably be around, hanging around APSA next year, and y'all will definitely like them. What, Mire? Mire always looks at me like this, just like, no, no. She's lying. The people here are great. Anybody else got things to say? Any advice?
I think for my advice, it's kind of similar, basically. Just like I think every time you're like, should I think you should just kind of go for it. Obviously, if it's bad, don't go for it. But if like you have like this little tinge, like, oh, I should ask my lab partner to go study with me, then like go for it. Just go for it. Or like someone next to you goes like, hey, do you want to check this org out, or do you want to like come to this event afterwards, like after class or something, like you should just go for it. Because then I feel like like you get tabled like everywhere, like you're gonna end up with 50 flyers the moment you go into campus, and then you're like, oh no, which one should I choose? And you should just go for the one that you think like that left the best impression on you, or like something that you're kind of passionate about, or something like that intrigued you, and just go to like one event and then try it out, basically. And it's kind of the same thing, but then like it's for people who are like very shy, because like I was like, oh god, what do I do? I'm like 2 hours away from home now. What do I do, kind of thing. And you just go on campus and you're like, you don't know anyone, so you got to make friends somehow, and it's not always going to be like your roommates, so then you're gonna have to find friends with somewhere else. And I was fortunate enough to have roommates that are A1, but a lot of people I know like didn't have the best roommates, and they found friends like through orgs and through trying new things. And I just say like, if you have like the little tinge of like, nah, I think you should just go for it.
Dang, all of y'all had a different experience than me because all of y'all dormed your first year. I'm just realizing that now. Oh, I missed out. Anyways, yeah, I mean, like, dip your toes in the water. All of y'all, I'm sorry to the people that are gonna watch this, but you're gonna be like, dang, all of them are just very much, they just want us to come out. But it's the truth. It's like a genuinely, like, it's something that you need to experience for yourself. Like, you might have like weird you know, hesitations. You might be like, I don't know if this is my vibe. I promise you, you'll find at least one person somewhere, some way, some shape, some how, I don't know, that you're just gonna be like, you know what, I vibe with you, and I like this. Um, yeah, particularly like with this group of people, I'm like, y'all are so different than me, and like the people that I normally hang out with, that I did not know if I was gonna be friends with y'all. I didn't think that I was gonna be, cool with Mire or Christine or Erwin or Kara. Erwin's honestly very quiet, like as a person. Uh Mire, one of the first things that Mire ever did when I first met her, she was like, hang out with me in the APSA office. That was like the second time I had ever spoken to her. And like she was just like, come to my office hours. Which, by the way, like, if there are like office hours, in person next year, go to them, because I swear you're gonna meet some people and you're gonna end up befriending them and then being like, y'all want to get lunch, and then y'all just you just end up having a lunch buddy forever, and you're just never gonna get rid of them. But yeah, Erwin, any thoughts?
I just want to say like whenever you're like dipping yourself like into a club, like checking out each club, I think one thing for sure is definitely like when you're there, just make connections, like keep making connections there. I think like even if you don't like the club like after one meeting or after one event, like those connections can go really far. Like you might see them in a class, you might even see them after college, who knows. Like just they could be, there's so much opportunities by just like talking to one person and just getting to know like just at least a little bit, because you know it can go far, it could go a long way, and you might not even know that. So yeah.
Very well said. And I think this next question is probably going to be like my last one. But is there anything that you would like to see change within the next couple months, like school wise? Um, as far as like, you know, how I don't how do I word this? As far as like like cultural orgs and like activism on campus, is there anything that you wish like that you would like to see change, or even maybe even stay the same? Who knows? Like however you feel about it. Are there things that you would want to see different in the coming months? Because at least for me, I would like to see like I know that people care about the issues that we're talking about, right? Fully understand that. But I don't want it to just stop there. I think that going forward in the next couple months, I think that it'll be hard considering like, we're going to have the summer break, right? People are just not going to be able to have those outlets to talk to others. But I think that it's important that we continue to have these conversations in spite of the fact that like I don't know, maybe these things won't affect us as much and going forward. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. That's as much as I have, but y'all? Kara?
My initial, like, right when you asked that question, I just like thought, I don't know if it's like a coherent thought, but like what I want to see change, like at least on campus, um, is like more involvement of API staff, because like I know the PETA Resource Center, like they hosted like a summit for all the student org leaders, but like when you get a bunch of college kids who are trying to balance school and also being a leader and also like dealing with all the circumstances like as young individuals, like, and asking them what they think that we should do as student leaders, like we're kind of just like at a loss. And I think it'd be really helpful if like the um, Asian American and APITA identifying staff members at SDSU like were to connect with all of us more and like help us like really pinpoint what it is that we can do as individuals that can help not only ourselves but like everyone else in our community. Because like right now I think like asking us to set a path of like, or like set us like asking us to set a direction for change is kind of like too much. And like as like adults, not like, I guess we're all young adults, but like as people who like are like our professors and like our leaders, and at least like in the academic setting and like as professional examples, I feel like they should be, or not should, but like it would be appreciative if they were to like mentor us a bit more, like as we adjust to having to more strongly fight for ourselves as a minority group on campus.
Very well said. I think that especially like going forward, there was a lot of talk about like especially like our advisor. Our advisor, Nellie, she's awesome. And she was like, we need Asian American studies, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Like I'm taking like an Asian studies class, and it's very different than like if you were to look at like Asian American history. Um and we just like generally don't really have a whole lot of, there's not really much literature on it, so I understand like why it would be difficult to have classes on that. But I think that opening up those spaces is definitely something that I would like to see change in the future, because I think that's a necessary outlet for people, especially like our age. Yeah. Anybody else thoughts?
I think one thing that I wish like was different was not necessarily like I like adding on to like what Kara said, like I do think that we should get more of a guidance. But other than that, I think the school should really give students a voice. I felt like an example was probably the spring break decision. They like held a Zoom meeting for everyone to join so that we could like see what's going on and like voice our opinions, and then they basically like kicked everyone out. It was just like, what's the whole point? And it just makes me feel, and I'm pretty sure like a bunch of other people feel like their voice was not being heard or validated. And I don't know, it was just like awful. And that's just like one instance. And I just think like hopefully more and more like people would want to speak out more, even though like I feel like since that incident, for me personally, it discourages me from even wanting to like attend those meetings or even try to voice my opinions if no one's going to listen. But I just wish like the school would be more open to constructive criticism, or not even that, it's just like listening to like our feelings and our thoughts.
Valid. Honestly, like those rest and recovery days, they went by like micro naps. It was like I closed my eyes and then I was like, oh god, another deadline. And also on top of that, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but some professors really, they were like, okay, Thursday's a rest and recovery day. Let's hold class on Tuesday instead. And I was like, what is happening? Because like there's like loopholes around it. So like there would be professors who were like, okay, if that day's a rest and recovery day, I'll make your assignment due an hour later after the rest and recovery day. And I think at that point it's just like, can you please be a little bit more lenient? Like I understand that like professors want to ensure the quality of our education, but at the same time I feel like this pandemic has really highlighted the way that higher education views students, because like we are paying for like a quality education, but at the same time it's like putting too much pressure on us as individuals and expecting us to put forth 200% effort when everybody's like struggling right now. Like it's a difficult time. Like I understand like it's a difficult time for professors as well, but like I'm also like, dang, y'all kind of went overboard a little bit. That's just, personally, I think that I would like to see school administration be a little bit more compassionate towards students. Yeah. Christine, Erwin, thoughts? I'm saying thoughts a lot, but that's just how it is.
What Kara and Mireille said were two definite things that I think should be like something that I want to see, like the change that I would like to see too, like more staff and faculty involvement with students and like more communication there. And then also like just to build more of a community, because like sometimes it feels like they're very separate, even though we're supposed to be like one like kind of a community. At least it definitely feels very separated, and especially with the pandemic it's even more separated. But um I would like to see some more like coherent, like, oh, I see you, I hear you, this is what's happening kind of thing. And um but yeah, like it's definitely been hard. And like going into this one, like, oh, are we gonna have in-person classes or not kind of thing. Like I wish they would tell us so that we can know if I need housing kind of thing. And then they told us pretty late and now it's really hard to get housing, stuff like that.
Valid. Erwin, do you have my thing paused again? Okay, you're back. Erwin.
Uh, I think basically everyone kind of just said like the main, like what I was basically thinking at first, like all the like how we like brain farting here. But yes, everyone basically said it. I mean, I don't really know what else to add, at least right now. Um, but I just think it was a rough time.
Very poignant words from one Mr. Erwin Rivera. And with that, I would like to say that I am very grateful for the four of you and the fact that we made it through this APSA year. Um, I don't know about y'all, but this was certainly an interesting experience. I didn't think that I was going to end up doing podcasts like this. I also don't know how many people these podcasts have reached, but like, props to y'all if y'all were watching me the entire way. And yeah, is there anything that y'all would like to leave off with, like final thoughts, final little thank yous or shout outs to our GBMers and fellow board members because they will be seeing this? Should we
I
save Kara for last?
no. Oh, why?
Because she's the president?
Because she's the boomer.
Matter.
I don't know, just a thought.
And
I nominate Erwin to go first, and then me.
Thank you,
and then-
everyone. I think like, can we repeat the question real quick?
I think I'm gonna put in like Erwin's new slogan is "Can we repeat the question?" Literally, we're just talking about like final shout outs, final thank yous,
Okay, gotcha.
acknowledgements. This could be like affirmations.
Okay.
Everybody else on board is gonna be angry that they didn't get affirmations, but it's fine. My podcast, my rules.
Well, I mean, I guess just basically thank you to everyone, like every GBMer that like came out and like helps or like supports like our events and all that stuff, and like everyone like on board that just made this org still like like flourish basically. And it's an online year. Like for anyone that like tried their best to like come out and like do whatever and like still be involved with everything, is like it's crazy because man, I gotta say that's really hard. Like I feel like if I was just a freshman that came in, I would just do schoolwork and be like, okay, cool. But yeah, thank you to everyone. Your turn, Mire.
Nice. Okay, so mine is basically what Erwin said. Like, thank you everyone who watches this, and also just all the GBMers who came out this year, because Zoom burnout is like so real, and I know I wouldn't have been going to GBMs that are over Zoom just because like I'm always tired and I can't stand watching my computer screen any more than like I have to. So, props to y'all. And then special thanks to eBoard, because if GBMers is like saying like, oh my god, like online is hard and whatever, like we have to like meet up a lot online. So, takes a lot of effort and time for that. And then I think thanks to you all, especially top three, Kara, Erwin, Christine, just because like, especially Kara, because I think without Kara, our board will literally fall apart, because I know I would not be able to do half of what Kara's doing. And Christine and Erwin, because they've been my homies since freshman year. Yeah, y'all made APSA really fun to the point where I wanted to like run for board. And yeah, I joined APSA not because I wanted to, but because some person that I like talked to once was like, oh yeah, I'm going to this GBM like for the first time. And I was like, okay, I'll go. And then I went and I hated it. And I was like, I hate APSA, like it's so cringy. But then like I just went to fan band because I'm like, I feel bad. I should just go out for one thing. And then that's how I met Christine. And, good times. But yeah, thank you all for the good memories. And AJ, because if you didn't come out to my office hours, I probably would not have talked to you as much as I did before. And you're a pretty cool gal, I must say so myself. Anyways, I'm gonna pass it on to the person who might be next year's president.
Is this foreshadowing?
AJ, I think she's talking to you.
I don't know about you, Chief. That is
Okay, but okay,
not me.
anyways, I sound like Deanna now. Okay, anyways,
she's gonna see me like, I don't talk like that.
Anyways, I said okay. I just want to thank all the GBMers that came. Like, it was definitely like hard to go online, and then like I was surprised the amount of people that found us online, because like I don't think as a freshman I would find these organizations that easily. And then I want to thank like eBoard for really really transitioning so well to online. Like, we really innovated, like the Discord server, the Spotify, Act Up is really good. Like, you're really thinking there, AJ. But yeah, like the transition was amazing, and then everyone did so well in like all of the events. Like FanBam smoothly went to online, like mentor mentee night, like amazing online. And then it was just so nice to see like like us put all this work and making it the best we could. And like Night Market FTS were, and I'm just really grateful to have something during like this pandemic, because like I'd be really lonely, but also the Zoom fatigue is real. But at the same time, I don't think if I didn't have, everyone on board and all these GBMers to talk to, it'd be very quiet. And I just do homework. Yes, top 4.
My Zoom is cutting in and out.
And it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
And then
GBMers will get the
It's fine. But yes, it was such a good year for what it was worth. Like what we had, it was really good.
Very nice. And as y'all can see, top 4 and I all very much appreciate all of you who are watching, all of our board members, all of our GBMers. It's been a very interesting year, and it's frozen again. It's been a very interesting year, and without all of y'all, this wouldn't have been possible. And with that, I would like to say this has been the final episode of Act Up. Thank you all for coming with us on this journey. What? Yes?
Did we skip Kara?
Oh, wait, Kara? Did Kara even say anything? You know what?
I think I did. Wait.
Hurry up and say that you're grateful for us already. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Kara, give me an affirmation.
What? Okay. Erwin.
It's been a long year.
It has been a long year, but a good one. I'll start off with thanking the GBMers first and foremost, like everyone else, because like you are what makes up APSA. And it sounds cheesy, but like thank you for not only opening up your schedules, but opening up your hearts to us and like allowing us to be your friends, because to you it may just seem like clicking on like joining a Zoom link, but we see like value in that because you're letting APSA play a role in your college career, and like that's literally why we serve in these leadership positions. So thank you for giving us a purpose. And then I want to thank AJ for I think like the way that you recreated your position to fit the online format is like, it was particularly innovative and successful. And like just seeing you take this initiative. It's just like really admirable. And I think you really set a new standard for political, just like for years to come, regardless of it being virtual or in person, because you had to be political coordinator in a very interesting time, but you did it with flying colors. And then thank you to the VPs, because I don't know, I didn't expect us to become for us to have the dynamic that we have, but I love it, and you know why I love it. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you. AJ.
Okay, well, and with that, finally, this is the this is the this has been the final episode of Act Up. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone watching. Final reminders of the year. Take care of yourselves. If you have meds, drink your meds. If you haven't drank water today, drink your water. And I hope that you have taken at least, taken at least a little bit of wisdom from the thought vomit that has occurred on this YouTube channel. Very sorry for for sometimes being, the rambling idiot that I am, but I'm very grateful for all of you. And yeah, because we all gotta act up sometime. Everybody do it. Everybody do the face. Do the face. Do the face. Do it. Erwin's not even Erwin's just cheesing at this point. Okay, bye.